Hey. Happy Tuesday. Tonight, I'm actually going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Egizia, Shifting Sands from my friends over at Stronghold Games. So come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope. I know we had a false start a few moments ago. I'll talk about that in just a second. But The Daily Dope is presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. What can I say? Anyway, tonight is Tuesday, February 11th. 2020. It is episode 439 of The Daily Dope. So, if this is your first time taking a peek at the show, let me point out this is very casual. It is not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Just kind of hanging out, having some fun, talking a little bit about tabletop gaming news. And then I usually will provide an unboxing or first look or a page through or review for people to kind of hang out and check out. So do want to point out, because this is live, there is chat available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question or a comment, by all means, please chime in. Of course, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, ring that little bell if you do subscribe, because it will notify you not only when the Daily Dope goes live, but also when I upload standalone videos as well. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Yes. Kabuki Kid is in chat. Second verse, same as the first. So I start off the show, as suddenly I have another little cat hair blowing around down here. It's always dusty, and it is the Duct Tape Studios, what can I tell ya? Anyway. So I start out the stream, and I'm getting ready to start the show, and I'm thinking, I'm forgetting something. What have I forgotten? There's something I've forgotten to do. And of course, it was to create the little video intro for Egizia that played during the opening for the Daily Dope. Because starting yesterday, I've changed up the format a little bit. Just a couple of news pieces every night. And then we jump into an unboxing or a review or first look, page through, what have you. So anyway, I forgot to do that. So I'm like, show starts and it's like, oh, it's a review of Oceans from North Star Games. No, it's not. I'm like, crap. I'm like, there's no way. I'm not going to let that one just go. If it had just been I forgot to do the little video part and it wasn't showing Oceans, I'd have been like, yeah, that's fine. But it was funny. As soon as that little video started, I was like, oh, shit. Now I know what I forgot to do. Hey, well, it's a live show. What can I tell you? All right, so before I jump on into the two news pieces I have tonight, did want to mention we've talked a little bit about I've been watching Picard, Star Trek Picard, and I watched the third episode. I don't want to spoil. I'm not going to float out spoilers or anything like that. But if you're watching it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So there was a Borg character. Once again, going to spoil anything if you've watched, Next Generation or Deep Space Nine or Voyager. They didn't have the Borg in Enterprise. I don't recall. But anyway, so there's a Borg character who shows up in Picard, and they don't give you any background whatsoever. In fact, they don't even tell you who it is until probably about 20, 25 minutes into the show, after they've already introduced this character. They haven't said the name of this character. That's what it is. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, that looks a lot like the actor who portrayed. And sure enough, that's who it is. But they just leave it like, I don't know, you're supposed to know who this is. And unfortunately, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are watching Star Trek Picard because they enjoy Discovery, and they're not necessarily big fans of Next Generation. So I was kind of like, what is going on with this? Very slow, very slow. They're finally going to leave Earth. But we already know he's got to go visit Riker and Troy. It's in the, the coming attractions. And I believe Jonathan Frakes is the director of the next 2 episodes. So oh my gosh, when is this thing going to start picking up here? But I mean, it's got interesting ideas. It's just like I keep saying, the pacing is just like a snail's pace. And it almost reminds me, if you're a Trek fan out there and if you go way back, it's like watching Star Trek the Motion Picture. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. All right, yeah. No, well, yeah. Oh, hey, that's different. I don't know. So, Kabuki Kid says that they've only seen the first episode of Picard. And they think that you'd be lost if you haven't already watched Trek. Specifically Next Generation, because there's so many callbacks to Next Generation, which I like. I like the little Easter eggs. It's cool. But once again, it's just, is it because, Sir Patrick Stewart is like 100 years old? Is that why it's like this slow? I know he's not 100, but he's up there, isn't he? 79? I think he's 79. All right, anyway, enough of my pontificating about Trek and Star Trek Picard. Let's jump on into the news, because if you enjoyed Brotherwise Games' Call to Adventure, which I actually did. I know some people were down on that game as far as reviewers. I enjoyed it because we ran with the whole role-playing aspect of the card game. A lot of people didn't do that. And if you don't do that, yeah, I guess it is a little bland. But if you enjoyed Call to Adventure, or you happen to be a fan of Brandon Sanderson's The Stormlight Archive, then you'll be interested in this bit of news. Here's the dope. Choose your path, craft your hero, and unite the Radiants. In a world torn by storms and war, only the Knights Radiant can face the wrath of Odium. This is the official board game of the Stormlight Archive, Brandon Sanderson's epic fantasy series. Using the Call to Adventure game system, it challenges you to build original characters in the world of Roshar. I think that's how it's pronounced. Over the course of the game, you will acquire traits, gain allies, and overcome challenges. Play competitively, solo, or cooperatively. And, win or lose, every game creates a unique story. Call to Adventure, the Stormlight Archive, can be played standalone or shuffled together with the Call to Adventure base game. Call to Adventure, the Stormlight Archive is a 120-card standalone game containing everything you need to play. Based on the works of Brandon Sanderson, this expansion and others to follow add new challenges, new destinies, and new paths to follow. Call to Adventure is a hero crafting game that combines strategy and storytelling. It's similar to some tableau building games where you're creating a kingdom or civilization, but in this game, you're building a character. Each player begins with cards that define your hero's origin, motivation, and destiny. Over the course of the game, you'll overcome challenges and gain traits. It's a game with points and a clear winner, but the highlight of every game is telling your hero's story at the end. Call to Adventure, the Stormlight Archives, is for 1 to 4 players, ages 13 and up. It plays in 30 to 60 minutes. Will carry an MSRP of $39.99 when it arrives in June. I have June 24th as a release date, but I don't know. That comes from a distributor, so sometimes they're ahead of the curve, and I get companies who say, hey, you need to take that news down. And then sometimes they're off a little bit. So I don't know. I believe we will see this as a June release. If not, I would think at the latest, we'd be looking at Gen Con release. I would think that would probably be the latest we would see it. So, I have not actually read the Stormlight Archive books by Brandon Sanderson. I understand it's going to be a 10-book series. What did he catch that from Robert Jordan? When he finished up Wheel of Time, since Robert Jordan had passed away? I don't know. I don't know about some of these fantasy authors these days. Yes, it's going to be a trilogy. Yes, my Song of Ice and Fire. It's going to be 3 books. 3 books. You like my Greek fishing cap? Yes. 3 books. Ooh, look at Robert Jordan. Look at all those books. Maybe not a trilogy anymore. All right, William McGinnis has popped in to chat as well. Kabuki Kid was mentioning that they play tested, I believe, Egizia Shifting Sands a couple years ago. Cool, very cool. I have played the original way back in the day. I will talk about that when we jump into that as well. So, my next news piece, and my final news piece actually, is about a role-playing game system that I have talked about from time to time on the show. It is a really nicely done retro clone, and you can save some big money on it right now because Old School Essentials is actually the focus of a new bundle of holding, and you can save loads of money on the hit system from Necrotic Gnome. I've got the dope Adventurer. This Necrotic Gnome bundle features the Old School Essentials tabletop fantasy role-playing game and its Dolemwood campaign setting from colorfully named publisher Necrotic Gnome. Funded in an April 2019 Kickstarter campaign, Old School Essentials is a modular B/X retro clone that emphasizes clarity, layout, and ease of use at your table. And Dolemwood is a flavorful and attractive weird fantasy setting about a creepy forest steeped in occult energies, riddled with fungus, tasty fungus, and haunted by fairies both wicked and kind. This all-new offer brings you this highly regarded old school revival game and most of its support line for a bargain price. For just $12.95, you get all 6 titles in the starter collection, retail value $56.50, as PDF ebooks, including the comprehensive Old School Essentials Classic Fantasy Rules Tome, said that 5 times fast, and introductory dungeon The Hole in the Oak, and the referee's screen, plus the first 3 issues of the popular OSR magazine Wormskin. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $24.88, you'll level up and also get the bonus collection with 9 more titles worth an additional $65.50, including 2 advanced fantasy expansions, the genre rules and druid and illusionist spells, the key Dolemwood title The Weird That Befell Drigbolton and Winter's Daughter, as well as 5 more issues of Wormskin. These savings will run through March 2nd. Keep in mind, 10% of your payment after payment gateway fees will be donated to this offer's designated charity, Wildlife Conservation Society. Sweet! Very, very nice. Old School Essentials is very, very recent. I know they just had recently also kickstarted a boxed set, because if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong, so we need somebody like Flaming Huron to correct me, because Flaming Huron tends to know a lot of RPG stuff. But I could have swore that Old School Essentials was released as little books and different volumes. And then with this PDF, it's the rules tome. So it's all those little volumes combined into one PDF. They had a box set that they successfully kickstarted, which will have softcover booklets. So I have heard really, really good things about Old School Essentials. I have peeked through the first couple of books. I thought the layout, everything is really well done. Really clears up a lot of misinformation and just bad layout from B/X. I mean, that really does exist. And also want to point out, if you go with the kind of like the bonus round, Winter's Daughter is an excellent adventure. It is really, really good. I have read through it. I have kind of bounced around, kind of maybe kit bashing it for some fantasy role playing. Although we are still trying to really get the Call of Cthulhu campaign off the ground. What can you tell you, Miller? I oughta. But anyway, this is a fantastic deal. You can get some really, really awesome stuff for Old School Essentials in this. And you are looking at what grand total at like $25 for the complete caboodle. Excellent. Very, very nice. So I do want to point out, if you'd like to check out more tabletop gaming news, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com, because just because I'm not including a bunch of tabletop gaming news on the Daily Dope every night does not mean that I am not posting a bunch of news on thegaminggang.com like I always do. So, alrighty. I love how William McGinnis is like, good evening, dopies. Better than dopers. Or just, I'm just a dope, so it doesn't really matter, right? Okay, so now that we've got the news out of the way, we're going to jump in. I'm going to do an unboxing and first look at Egizia Shifting Sands, which is, as I mentioned before, from my pals over at Stronghold Games. So, Egizia Shifting Sands is designed by, and I'm going to mispronounce all of this stuff, Architoka Flaminia Brazzini Virginio Gigli. Just taking a guess. I don't think it's Giggly. I think it might be Gigli. Stefano Leperto and Antonio Tinto, with artwork provided by William Bricker. See, I got that one right. Game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up. Plays in around an hour to an hour and a half. And this is available right now. It does carry an MSRP of $49.95. So let's pop on over to the camera that's directly in front of me, which is giving me no signal. What is going on here? Hang on. We'll get it. We'll get it up here. Okay, that's not what I meant to say. We'll get this going here. Hold on. All right, so what in the world? Oh, come on, you. Pain in the butt. This was working just fine. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, see, I'm not a huge fan of these DSLR cameras that do not actually sit there and see. Now, I think I mentioned on last night's show, this camera is not necessarily set to record for more than 19 minutes and 59 seconds. So I have a little workaround but the workaround's a pain in the ass. Oh, come on. Jeez. I don't know why this was off, though. That's what throws me off a bit. Because the really good camera I use there, in fact, funny thing was, I had tried to swap the cameras out. So the overhead camera, well, come on. There we go. So the overhead camera I swapped out with the, I guess we'll say, like, forward facing camera here. And it just wouldn't work. I was like, what the heck's going on here? So I swapped the capture devices and everything. It just was not coming out correctly. It was just a complete pain. So I was like, forget it. That was one of the reasons why I completely forgot to swap out the little video to open the show today, is because I was screwing around with trying to swap out the cameras here. Regardless, we've got it working now. So Egizia Shifting Sands is a new edition of the classic Egizia, which I got to be honest, I think Egizia is like the third Euro game I ever played. And I played it with Elliot Miller, and he smoked me like a cheap cigar. So I recall the first Euro games I played was Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride, and then Egizia. Because I had actually come in, this was about maybe 11 years ago, because it was before I launched the gaming gang. Anyway, so I had come into Chicago from Phoenix and spent the afternoon, the evening hanging out with Elliot. And he was like, hey, come on, let's play these games. Because we had been talking about these, he had gotten back into board games. So I was like, oh, okay. And I remember playing Egizia. So this is a new edition. So Pharaoh requires 5 glorious monuments in his name so that he will be remembered for eternity. Collect building materials, organize your crews, vie for position along the Nile. Pharaoh's best builder will be given riches, fame, and honor beyond all imagining. I don't know. I can imagine quite a lot. So plan your strategy carefully and adorn the banks of the Nile with marble and gold. So travel down the Nile, gather your resources, build iconic Egyptian monuments. There we go. Anyway, I was going to say, I could have swore, and I might be wrong, I could have swore that Egizia was originally, is it from Z-Man Games? Either Z-Man Games or Mayfair Games. One of the two. Maybe it was Mayfair. Maybe that's why Stronghold Games got their hands on it. So I'm not sure if this is kind of the edition that was kickstarted, because I know there was a very successful Kickstarter, as a Gray Day has popped in to chat. Good to see you, Gray Day. Welcome back. And I'm not sure if this is the one that kickstarted or if this is kind of the retail version. It kind of looks like it's probably the retail. But I could have swore that there was a mention. Yeah, see, it says it's a double-sided game board. So I believe the original game has a game board, and then there's this new Shifting Sands edition, which I think kind of speeds up play in certain regards, as well as kind of makes things a little easier. I believe it has more monuments that you're building, so let's put that off to the side for a second, and let's take a look. All right, you, what is going on? We don't want that exposure changing like that. Kabuki Kid says it was Rio Grande Games. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I was gonna say if it would have been one of 3 companies, Rio Grande, Mayfair, or of course Z-Man, because those were kind of the big Euro game publishers here in the U.S. at that time. So we've got a game setup. Talking about a 2-player game setup. Got image of the setup here as well. Playing of a round. I recall that Elliot kept beating me, or just he kept beating me to the punch because he'd go and he'd get the good spots along the Nile. It kept denying me of like what I was looking to try to get. So we've got the river setup. Talking about different phases: mining phase, feeding phase, building phase. So we've got the obelisk, the colonnade, the statues, the pyramid. We also have the two-player variant. We've got the Sphinx. Then we've got a cleanup phase, talking about the markets and the game end. So showing us the icon references, description of the Nile cards. If I remember correctly, because like I said, I've only played this once, the original version, and it was funny. I remember Elliot kept jumping into spots that I wanted on the Nile, and I kept having a really hard time feeding my workers or feeding my builders, whatever you want to consider them. So we've got a description of the Sphinx cards, column bonus tiles, statue goals. So all in all, we got 15 pages of rules. Plus, look at that! Don't miss out. Terraforming Mars. Almost got an opportunity a couple weeks ago to play Terraforming Mars with not only my nephew Cameron, but his girlfriend, Lexi. But we were playing some other stuff, and Cameron was tired. Like, give me a break. Like, it's like, come on, man. You're an 18-year-old kid. It's 9 o'clock at night. How can you be tired? All right, so going back into the box here, we got some punch boards, obviously enough. So a variety of, looks like these are similar. So it's dual-sided here. Let's move that out of the way for a second so we can kind of jump a little closer in. Let's zoom in a little bit. I get a better look at these. So we got some different tokens here. I'm going to take a guess. These are probably player markers. And these are dual-sided. I don't recall a whole lot about the game. All I do recall is that when I heard Stronghold was going to do a new edition, I was like, oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'd like to. I remember enjoying the game, regardless that Elliot was kicking my butt at it. I recall having a good time playing. So we've got some more of the various different tokens. And if I remember correctly, these are face down. So you don't know exactly what benefit they're supposed to provide you. I might be wrong, but I seem to recall that. All right, so we also have the game board, which now I'll end up zooming out, I'm sure, to get a better look at this. All right, so here, of course, we've got the Nile, which is where you're going to place your builders to gather the resources. Maybe they're just workers. Maybe they're not builders. So we've got that. Then we've got the various different monuments that we're working on. So that's the obelisk, colonnade. Here's the pyramid. There's the Sphinx. We've got these statues. I think these are the fifth of the groups of monuments that you're going to be building. Of course, you've got Victory Point Tracker running around the board as well. So we've got this side here. Then we've got this side. So I wonder, taking a look here, it might not be the two different versions of the game. It might be one side is for 2 players, on the other side might be for 3 and 4 players. So that is a possibility. I am not positive. So, but as you can see, very nicely done. Like the artwork. The artwork's very cool. And the board is nicely presented, and we'll hold up to repeated play. What else we got here? Got some cards. We got some boats. Got some meeples. We have some scoring boards, it looks like, in the box. Let's pop these on out. Yep, so we've got 4 of these, so 1 for each player. I believe, move this. I believe these boards actually you'll store like resources on them. I'm pretty sure that's what you're doing on these boards here. Nice stock. These will hold up too. Very nicely done there. So we got 4 of these. Zoom in a little bit closer. We'll take a look at the various different meeples. And we'll take a peek at the cards as well. So we've got, I believe, I'm going to take a stab. I believe the cubes or little rectangles there, I believe these are resources. I believe these are the different kinds of resources here. So I believe that's what we're looking at. So I think this is gold. I think that's grain, stone. So I think, like I said, it has been long time. So a grade A mentions that their family prefers Imhotep to Egizia. I reviewed Imhotep the Duel. I don't have the original Imhotep, but I thought it was all right. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great. Once again, it's just a 2-player version of it. But I thought it was good. I thought it was a good game. We enjoyed playing it. Right, so we've got the little boats here, which are going to represent the builders, workers, what have you, gathering the various different resources. So let's see here. Kabuki Kid is the Eye of Horus. Yes, that's what that was. The original Egizia was a Hans game. Yes. There we go. So we've got all of these. And we've got a couple of decks of cards. And I will crack these open here. Zoom in, get another look at these. All right. So we've got a few different decks here. These are statues. This is the Sphinx. A bunch of them with the Sphinx on there. So we've got upgrades. So we've got upgrades to stone that are mining. Upgrade to grain production. There's another one for mining. Another one for grain. Mining, grain. One of each for each player is my guess. Sure enough. So that's your starter. That is your upgrade. So each side has the upgrade as well as the starter for stone and grain production. So we've got that. Got some of these numbered cards. So for the statues, collected permanent cards, bricks in the pyramid, yellow and red field productivity, green field productivity. I'm taking a guess that these are victory points that you're awarded. Just taking a guess. Cruise strength. I believe there have been some new gameplay elements added to the proceedings here. So these are the Sphinx cards. So I'm taking a guess. This might represent the victory points. So reach the top level of the stone market. You have completely built at least 2 statues. These could possibly be I don't know, because there's quite a few of these cards for them to be kind of like secret agendas or something along those lines. But then again, it's a possibility. You might draw so many of these cards, have the ability to get some bonus points if you focus your energies in particular areas. So that's a possibility there. It's kind of funny. So, and I don't know why. Why does this suddenly seem like the video is kind of dark? Doesn't it seem like it's... I know the lights haven't gone out. Yeah, what is the deal here? This one of the reasons why I was trying to swap cameras out is this camera just seems like, I don't know if it's starting to go or what. See, now look. There we go. Now, watch. Yes, see? Let's try doing this. I know it's a little late to be trying this now, but let's do that exposure. Let's see if it'll stay with that exposure. Now, see, now that's way too bright. It is way, way too bright. You know, that looks okay. That exposure looks all right. It's not a, no, it's not a white balance. It's an exposure thing. And that's one of the problems that this camera seems to have a little bit of, is that yeah, I know it was too blown out there. It seems it doesn't lock the exposure like I like it to do. So I don't know, kind of weird. Kind of weird. My apologies, gang, because those colors were looking really washed out. See, that looks a little bit better. So, so we've got these cards all have number 5 on these. 3 and 4. I'm going to take a guess these are in the rounds. Because I don't recall this being a game that you triggered an end event. I thought there's so many rounds to this game. So, once again, I might be misremembering this. All right, so we've got some different cards here. So, nicely done. The card stock is very nice on these for the small European size. Actually, this is a very nice card stock. This is one thing that throws me off a little bit sometimes. Is now this game does carry an MSRP of $49.95, and I got to point out this game's components are really nice, and there's quite a lot of them, and there's kind of more to this than some Stronghold games that have a higher MSRP. So I don't know. All right, so we got the different cards for what appears to be the different rounds. We're going to swap these out. And I believe we actually put cards along the Nile here. So anyway, so we've got these 3 little decks here. Let's put all this stuff back into the box. We'll point out, not necessarily a fantastic box for storage, but that's not that big a deal. I usually have little baggies that I put stuff in anyway once I do the unboxing videos. So we've got the different decks of cards. We actually have a bunch of baggies too. I do want to point that out. So there are a bunch of baggies for us in there. We've got the various different resources, as well as the builder boats or worker boats. Got 2 punch boards. Oh, I guess I should put the player boards in here as well. We got 4 of those. And then we've got the game board and the rule book. And that is what we find when we take everything from Egizia, Shifting Sands, outside the box. Of course, I will have a review of Egizia in the near future. Hoping to get some gaming in this weekend with a bunch of people. as opposed to just 2-player games, which has been what's been going on the past few weeks. Anyway, but as I mentioned, Egizia is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in an hour to an hour and a half, and is available now carrying an MSRP of $49.95. So there you have it for tonight's show. Yes, we've had just crazy technical difficulties through tonight's show. I don't know about the... Anyway, do want to finish up, point out that someone had emailed me asking, because effectively this is episode 439 of the Daily Dope. So there have been 438 previous episodes of this nightly show, right? So for a few months, I was just doing tabletop gaming news. Prior to that, I would feature a bunch of tabletop gaming news, as well as an unboxing, review, page through, what have you. But it was just too much news for people to sit through, waiting to get to what a lot of people are like, oh, I want to see the game. I want to see Egizia. I don't care about, role-playing game stuff. So anyway, I split the two apart. And then for the past few months was just doing all tabletop gaming news. And of course, just doing my other videos as standalone videos. So I had mentioned last week, basically, that I was considering wrapping up the Daily Dope at episode 450. Because get about 100 views. And that's about it. I mean, 100 views is actually a good night for the stream. So I was like, yeah, it's a lot of work going on. So I decided I was going to go back to featuring actual game unboxings, reviews, what have you. And to make a long story short, this email was asking, so Jeff, what are you going to do as far as the show? What if you're still, pulling in like 100 viewers and you're just, you're doing the unboxings, reviews, what have you? The reality is, then I will no doubt wrap up the Daily Dope at episode 450. That's no getting around it. It's just simply, like I said before, it's a lot of work to do a live stream every single night, always have news out there, all these other, different things, to not have too many people watching when I can sit and do a standalone video, which will pull in at least a few hundred viewers. So depending on what it is, sometimes it's thousands of viewers. So I don't know. We'll see what's going on. I enjoy hanging out and, just kind of goofing off in front of the camera with everybody in chat. So I enjoy that. But like I said, we'll see what's going on. But I do want to point out, because I guess there's a misconception that come episode 450, if I'm doing unboxings and reviews and stuff, and I'm still seeing like 90 views, that I just go back to doing the news. Now, I got to be honest. I will just wrap up doing the Daily Dope. Gaming Gang won't go anywhere. I won't go anywhere, knock on wood. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so, A Great Day says, congrats on 439 episodes. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's actually, I think it's a couple episodes more than that, because there were some test streams which were just god-awful. Just, technically, they were god-awful. I was okay. I'm always kind of the same person. But, yeah, technically, they were just a mess. So, Kabuki Kid says, I like it all. RPGs, board games, so I. I'm just about every genre. I play PC games, too. I've kind of been dipping my toe into Divinity 2. Divinity 2. I think it's Original Sin with that one, too. But it was funny, because I had already started playing that a couple of years ago. And I'm sort of like, yeah, this is cool, but I remember these parts that I had to go through. So it feels kind of grindy. So, like, I never finished it. But anyway, Kabuki Kid also mentions it'd be a bummer if the show ends. but I should do what I prefer. Yeah. Well, I mean, it just makes it wouldn't make much sense to just, continue doing this. Because I am not really good at self-promotion. Just not. So I've been covering this hobby this is my 10th year covering tabletop gaming. And the companies know who I am, but I'm not like the squeakiest wheel. And, you've got all these people who are just coming out of nowhere. And you can see there's money behind them. And they're looking to do the same thing. They want to be the next Dice Tower, Man versus Meeple. Although the Dice Tower and Man versus Meeple are night and day. Don't get me wrong, but they're both making money, and that's kind of where all these people are coming out of the woodwork, sort of. But anyway, that's simply not me. Never has been. Hubcam 210 has popped in just as I'm about to head on out. So maybe live stream cats eating board games, says a Great A. Could pull in some views. I could probably pull in views with cats laying in board game boxes. So there are a couple of cats. Hey, actually, thankfully tonight, we did not get an appearance from Pinky coming down here to make a bunch of noise. So there's that. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. If you like the video, please give it a quick thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you do so, please ring that little bell. Don't forget, because it'll notify you when the Daily Dope goes live. You'll also receive notifications when I upload standalone videos as well. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you, everybody who hung out in chat tonight. Pretty quiet chat. I know Dan from No Enemies Here was doing another live stream. Everybody's jumping on the live streaming, right? So I think a lot of the folks who, like some of the war game folks, usually hang out. Probably hanging out watching that, because that's all about wargaming tonight. But anyway, I appreciate everybody who hangs out, chatting with me. And of course, even if you watch after the fact on Memorex, I certainly appreciate that as well. I appreciate anybody who takes some time out to check out the channel, as well as thegaminggang.com. So of course, I will be back tomorrow on tomorrow's show. As long as this camera is not all messed up, I will be showing you how to play and reviewing Escape from Hades. Bum, bum, bum. Yes, from Hollandspiel, designed by Fred Manzo, game development by the Herman Lettman. So, it's Wargame Wednesday. It's kind of wargame-ish, so we will be taking a look at that. I will be sharing my review. So, everybody enjoy your Tuesday night. I will be back tomorrow for Hump Day. And until then, happy trails. Oh, jeez. Forgot the contest. Oh, this has just been a disastrous show. Anyway, don't forget, check out the contest going on for YouTube subscribers as well as Twitter followers. I'll talk about it again on tomorrow's show. Have a great night, everybody. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.